Hey guys, Ashe here, Comanche today, Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Glad to have you all here. Oh man, I just did a real dumb move. Oh man, almost 11 years on YouTube. Yours truly. I've done this a couple times, but it's been a long time. I just recorded about half this video and I didn't hit record. Just chilling in the office, talking Raid Shadow Legends to the wall. Just talking about champions. Feels extra pathetic. Just even extra, just talking to nobody. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm just chilling here by myself. Anyway, guys, we used to do videos like this all the time, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. It gives me an excuse to talk about, in this case, 15 champions that have an extremely rare and extremely valuable ability. And the nice thing is, it's a beautiful mix. Some rares, some epics, some legendaries, and some mythicals have this ability. And odds are, some of these champions you may have pulled and not even realized that you're sitting on a diamond in the rough. You're sitting on a very, very special thing. What is it? What is this thing, Ashe? I have two quick honorable mentions. I just released an entire video on this dude, and he's so good. I still love him. Duden. He's an honorable because it's a 4-turn cooldown. We're talking about buff extenders on a 3-turn cooldown on an AoE. It's one of the best things that you can get in this game. Why? Because almost every buff in this game is 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. If you have a buff extender on the team alongside of them, well, obviously that buff's gonna stay on them, you know, feasibly all the time, right? But beyond that, Relentless is very popular in this game. Extra turns, abilities, it's starting to happen all over the place. Have you guys noticed an extreme uptick? Maybe after like Nekmothar was released about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, an extreme uptick in grants and extra turn abilities, which are great. I love extra turn abilities, right? Even every mythical in the game, when they metamorph, they're getting an extra turn. They're taking an extra turn. And the downside of that is their buffs get decreased, right? The turns on their buffs. So that's why, more than ever, the increased duration of all buffs and all allies is extremely, extremely valuable. Put one on every Hydra team if you can. It's something that you guys should be looking out for, especially if you have those extra turn or a bunch of relentless champions that can strip their own buffs, essentially. So Duden has that ability, increase the duration of all buffs and all. On a 4-turn, we're really looking for it on a 3-turn, though. Another one of my favorite 4-turn champions, though, is actually going to be Lanicus. I like Lanicus as an ally attacker. She's really good. She's a very unique ally attack. It's 3 allies. I wish it was 4 or everyone, but still, allies joining the attack, default skills, fills a turn meter of all allies by 30%, and then increased duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. That's why Lanicus, for a while there, she was the most popular ally attacker for clan boss, for old school Demon Lord clan boss. Very, very unique ally attack ability here in Companions of Fate. But anyway, there's 15 champions. Let's get to them. And, not just talking about this ability the entire, video, but also talking about why I actually like, I want to say I like almost every champion on this list, and some of them I absolutely love, and I feel like they're a little bit lesser known, some of them. So let's get to it here. This one's probably not lesser known. It's Valerie. Valerie's a campaign farmable rare champion, so everybody watching can get her. I don't want to see any comments about, Ashe, I don't have any of these champions, idiot! Because you could have one.
How can I repay you?
Valerie, on her A2 ability, Energizing Presence, increased the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. Also, decreased the duration of all debuffs on all allies by 1 turn with the increased attack. This little rare, man, this ability is so sneaky good. The increased attack is the weak version, but it's sometimes hard to find increased attack in the early game. So that's nice to have, right? But really, the decreased duration of all debuffs on all allies on the same ability, I say this all the time, but sometimes that 1 turn throws people off, but oftentimes that 1 turn is all you need. For example, any CC debuff in the game, right? Provided she's not CC'd, a stun, I mean, with some exceptions, there's a couple 2-turn stuns out there, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? It will cleanse off those true fears, those stuns, yada, 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 most times. So this is a very, very good ability. She also has a shield on the A3. It's not a very good shield, and it's a 5-turn cooldown, but just that A2 alone, she's worth not maxing out, but she's worth taking to level 40 or 50 for Faction Wars, certainly in the early game. All right, the next one, guys, is going to be, odds are a lot of you guys probably know this rare. She was one of the most used rares in all of Raid Shadow Legends on the Infinity Shield clan boss team. You know, the Corpulent Cadaver team. I don't like to really mention that name, but she's got the weaken on the A1, which is really nice to have. A lot of teams didn't have the weaken, but her claim to fame really is increase the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn, and then places an increased crit rate as well on all allies. Very, very good in clan boss, both Demon Lord and in Hydra clan boss, this particular ability. Let's go ahead and talk in no particular order here, guys. I want to talk about the Dark Plague, right? Corvus the Corruptor. Oh man, the Black Death, the Dark Plague, the Dark Plague, the Black Death, the Dark Plague. Why did I call the Black Death the Dark Plague? Is that what it's called?
Black Death Plague.
Anyway, I love this aesthetic, dude. Corvus the Corruptor looks so freaking awesome, man. He is one of the coolest looking champions in the game. Half Black Death Doctor, right? Kind of like a, you know, the mask they used to wear. Half Bird of Prey. Anyway, he's really cool. He's defense based, he's tanky. Attacks all enemies 2 times. First hit increases the duration of all enemy debuffs by 1 turn. Second hit increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. All enemy debuffs is very, very nice to increase the duration. Same as the inverse, increasing our buffs. He also has an AoE ×2. Each hit has a place, so 2 big versions of poison, and then after attacking, plays a poison sensitivity on enemies under 2 or more poison debuffs. So he's a good poison damage dealer as well. So he's got the increased duration, decreased duration. He's got the poisons, the poison sensitivity, and then decreases the damage enemies under poison debuffs inflict by 5% less damage per poison, up to 25%. So you can get a 25% damage mitigation, which is really, you know, equivalent to a strengthen, a big version of a strengthen buff on your team in terms of the damage mitigation from that passive. He's a very cool champion. I don't think he's like the best in the game, but he's very, very solid. He also has defense in all battles by 30%, which is really, really nice as well. All right. I like Corvus, and I like, not love, the next one. It's Oella. I don't love Oella, but some people really do. Some of you guys really do. I think she's solid, but anyway, anybody who really card-carrying Oella fan club member, let me know what it is about her that you absolutely just love. She has a decreased speed on the A1, can't be resisted. Ult in the shell, I really hate him. I think he's awful, really awful personally. But she is really, I like her, obviously. Decreased speed on the A1, love it, 100%, fantastic. Already good in like Iron Twins. Heals all allies by 30% of their max HP, increase the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. Great ability. We get the pretty dang big heal. It's their max HP, but it's still big. And then increase the duration of all ally buffs. And then turn meter fill and increase resistance for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. It's not bad, man. It's actually not bad. Whenever an ally loses 15% or more of their max HP from a single hit, plays a continuous heal on that ally. Okay, not bad. Yeah, she has a really solid kit, and she's really fast too. She's doing a lot, right? Turn meter fill, increased resistance, heals, increased duration of buffs, the decreased speed on the A1, the continuous heal as well.
Welcome to my fan club, baby.
I like her. I like her. She's cool. Let's talk about an epic, guys. This is an epic that we don't really talk about that much at all on the channel, but this guy's pretty freaking good. It's Ancherite. I'm going to do a guide on him. I'm not sure if I'm going to bring him on this channel or on the second channel, Raid Shadow Legends Champion Guides. Maybe this channel, I don't know. He's got an AoE on his A1, so let's start with that. You can throw him in a stun set as a support champion, and he can be great controller, right? Attacks all enemies, heals the ally with lowest HP by 10% of the damage inflicted. He's an attack-based support, and his base attack for a support isn't that bad, right? So that heal can be fairly significant on the ally with lowest HP. On the A2, Prayer of Prowess removes 1 random debuff from all allies and then increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. It's pretty good. It's the same as Valerie, basically, right? On the Sacred Trust, his A3 ability fully heals an ally and then places an increased crit rate and an increased crit damage on all allies for 2 turns. Very unique kit. You know, HP in all battles on the aura as well. I love the AoE on that A1. He's an underrated epic for certain. Anybody use him anywhere? I just built him, so we'll see. I'm probably just going to put him in a stun set, use him mainly for Cursed City content, but there's definitely some other viability they can have in other areas as a support champion. All right, next up, guys, is going to be another one. I like this guy. I built him, and I've used him quite a bit as well, so expect a guide on him, but it's Malth Bloodflock. Anybody recognize this dude? Anybody have this guy? He's kind of new. I want to say maybe within the last 6 months, certainly, of the recording at least, right? That's going to age well. Someone watching in 5 years be like, well, really? You knew? He's not a super mythical void. He's not a super duper mythical, what's beyond platinum mythical?
Write that down.
Whatever they have in this game. Can you imagine this game in 5 years, what they're going to have? Oh, it's almost scary, right? Anyway, I digress. He's stealing buffs on his A1. He's attacking everybody. 100% chance to decrease the duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn, and then 100% chance of increasing the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. And then blood transfusion revives 2 random allies, 30% HP, 30% turn meter. He's kind of like the Caden or the Dur the Hungerer, you know, the revive 2 allies. There's a billion of them, right? I'm trying to think of some of the, does Melga have the revive too? Melga, Steel Girdle. Who's the one I'm forgetting? Not Dur the Hungerer, but I digress. All right, so he's a revive 2 allies too. So he's a new epic reviver, and he's actually pretty good. Like this Hemo Bomb is pretty nasty considering he's a double reviver on top of that. I actually really like that guy. All right, let's go to an old school. We talk about kind of a new one. Let's talk about an old epic, and it's Sandlash Survivor. Sandlash, she's still pretty nasty. Nice and tanky on the defense. She's defense-based orc. A little squishy on the HP though. She has a provoke on the A1, which is really, really nice. She has Endless Sands, attacks all enemies. There it is. Decreased duration of enemy buffs, increased duration of ally buffs, 3-turn cooldown, and then Born Survivor. Odds are a lot of you guys are familiar with this passive, but it's pretty strong. It places an ally protection on all allies for 2 turns when any ally's HP drops below 50%. Also block damage on this champion for 1 turn. Keep in mind with buff extensions though, some buffs like block damage, unkillable, cannot be extended. Just keep that in mind. Anyway, 4-turn cooldown, really nice ability. Simple kit, but very effective defense in all battles as well. She used to be a GOAT, especially for like old school Demon Lord clan boss. Not used as much anymore, but certainly for progression in so many different areas. She is amazing. Guys, let's talk about maybe my favorite champion in the game, man. She's just, every video that I talk about Lady Mikage, I like her a little bit more than the last time. I use her a little bit more. I use her in more areas of the game. As a matter of fact, she just made her way into like my best Hydra clan boss team. She's so unbelievably good. Her base stats are insane, obviously. 115 speed, super tanky. And she does so much. On her alternate form, I'm just going to go through quickly. You don't want to sleep on her passives, first of all, right? Both form passives are really strong. At the start of this champion's turn, decrease the turn meter of the enemy with the highest attack by 15%. At the start of her turn, so we're always, especially in PvP, we're always decreasing turn meter on their nuker, basically, right? Their strongest nuker. She's an AoE stun, decreased turn meter. She has an increased accuracy on all allies. She's removing buffs on all enemies. She's placing a weaken on all enemies as well. And then on her base form, she has that really, really exceptionally strong ally attack, increased crit damage, the perfect setup for nukers. I don't think any ally attacker in the game has increased attack, increased crit damage with all allies joining in on an ally attack. Only Lady Mikage. Cardial has increased attack, I believe, and increased crit rate. Or is it increased crit rate, increased crit damage? Either way, she's got them both. Really nice for min-maxing damage, obviously. But this A2, well, passive. At the start of the champion's turn, removes all debuffs from the ally with the highest attack. So now she's cleansing our nuker off of this passive. Really strong. But it's this. Silken Snare is the strongest ability in terms of increase, decrease that we'll talk about today because it's the strongest in the entire game. 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies. Decrease the duration of all ally buffs and all ally debuffs by 1 turn, enemy buffs, and all ally debuffs by 1 turn. then increases the duration of all enemy debuffs and all ally buffs by 1 turn. So she's doing all 4 of the increase, decrease, enemy buffs, debuffs, ally buffs, debuffs, all on 1 3-turn cooldown. So nasty. This is the most, I don't want to say underrated, but like I think when people think of Lady Mikage, they think of the ally attack and they think of the stun, right? The kind of the A2, A3 of her alternate form. But man, this ability is so good. It is so good. All right, I've spent 20 minutes on Lady Mikage.
But you said you were too busy.
Let's talk about the Void Legos, who we all know. These guys are famous for these abilities, so you're probably aware. Grazer Iron Gut has the AoE shield. He's got the AoE heal and the increased duration of all buffs on all allies. And let's just throw on an enemy max HP from the big fella. What's up, Grazer? He's a beast. And then he has a Let None Pass, another AoE with a Provoke, increased resistance and increased defense on all allies. And then he has the heal on the passive, the Unkillable on the passive, a little Vogoth, a little, I don't know, Leo on the passive, right? And then he has defense in all battles by 33%. Grazer does it all and throw in the enemy max HP. He's a monster. He's a beast. But I'm actually finding that a lot of players in the end game, even in my clan, for example, that have both Chrisk and Grazer, I feel like everybody switched from Chrisk to Grazer for a moment there in the meta. And now I've noticed a lot of people are switching back to Chrisk, interestingly enough. That being said, they're both S-tier Void Legendaries, 2 of the most wanted Void Legendaries. There's a lot of similarities in their kits as well. They both have 3, well, Chrisk has 2 AoEs. He has an AoE like debuff Provoke, but not on the attack. But either way, decreased speed on the A1, which is very handy, especially in Hydra. He has the insane A2 ability, ally protection, 2 continuous heals on himself, increase the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. Then he has to provoke the increased defense on himself, the increased speed on all allies, and then he's debuffing and placing shield on the passive. You guys are probably familiar with Chrisk, but he's still one of the GOATs out there. I've been running him in my Hydra Clan Boss team in a curse set, personally on the team that I don't have a curse, AoE champion. So he's great there for extra utility. Let's talk about 2 of the more obvious, or most obvious, I will say, epics. 2 of the best epics in the entire game, to be fair. Detha just changed everything when she was released, man. I mean, the 9 levels, it always throws me off. I'm like, oh, A1, whoa, yeah, I forgot about that. Good news is, well, she has 2 levels on Channel the Bloodline. Her block damage and continuous heal, block damage on a 3-turn cooldown, and a big version of continuous heal on a 3-turn cooldown. Just such a simple but amazing and fantastic ability. She really does outclass legendaries, like every legendary in the block damage category, to some extent, right? Her Helicath, that's such a good ability on 3-turn. Anyway, Light of the Deep is an underrated ability in her kit as well. Increase the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn, decrease duration of all ally debuffs by 1 turn, which is nice because it does not require accuracy, which you don't need in her kit. But you're doing both of the, the pairing, the increase, decrease on your champions, right? And then she has a heal associated to that as well, which can scale up quite a bit. So Detha is amazing. And of course, the other best Void Lego epic Lego in disguise is Godseeker Aniri. Godseeker. Oh man, she's so good. I actually have a +3 empowered Godseeker Aniri on the account, so I'm thrilled.
That's fair. I'm so happy for you.
To start using her a little bit more often. I'm currently running her in my my Sand Devil team. I don't do a duo team, though I have the full squad. Ally heals the ally with the least HP on the A1. She's an AoE, heals all allies by 15% of their max HP, then decreases the duration of all buffs on all enemies by 1 turn, does require accuracy, and increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. So this is a unique ability. Everything about Godseeker feels unique. Extra healing out of heals, the preemptive fatal hit revive, the revive with resetting cooldowns. She's so good, especially for an epic. Her kit, if it was a legendary, she'd be very good. If she was a Void Legendary, she would still be used and be good, That's how unique she is. She really is, Anyway, really a lot going on here, but I love that on the extension, she's also healing, right? A little bit different than what we've seen so far from most of the other champions that we've spoken about, I guess with Detha being the other exception. All right, guys, there's only 2 more left. Have we already done 13 champions? Maybe I'm not blabbing as much as I thought I was.
It's a miracle.
Record timing here, Ashe. Arbias. Just pick one and go with it, Ashe. Just pick one and go with it. Arbias.
Whatever.
I love this champion, man. She's a mythical, so I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on her, but she's very, very good. I use her a lot in live arena. I open up with Verdant Rebirth because if I'm not going against a lot of polymorph, I open up with Verdant Rebirth. If I'm going against a lot of polymorph, I'll just switch to her other form. Removes all buffs from all enemies, increase the duration of all ally buffs, and then a revive on death on all allies for 2 turns. Man, it's a small little ability, only 3 sentences there, right? But there's a lot going on. The remove all buffs from enemies and the increased duration, and the revive on death synergizes with this passive. Very nasty. 30% chance of placing a petrification debuff on the attacker for 1 turn whenever an ally is attacked while under a revive on death, right? And then I won't go over her entire kit, but this Roar of the Mistwood is the ability that she's known for. 2 continuous heals on all allies for 2 turns, and then a taunt buff on this champion for 2 turns, as well as a stone skin buff for 1 turn. She also has speed in all battles by 25% on the aura. A lot more going on in her kit as well, but she's one of them. And I think the only champion I don't have, I want to say, on the list today is Androck the Glorious. Androck, man, he's up there. He's probably number 2 after Galathyr in terms of the mythical I would most want out there. He's really good, the Lion, right? He does a lot. Obviously, he's known for his Enfeeble, right? They did fix the Enfeeble. Well, let's just go over his. We're running pretty low on time here, or high on time. We're moving fast. Let's go over his kit because I don't have him, so I'm familiar with it, but it's been a while since I looked at everything he's doing. Increased defense on all allies on his A1. That's really nice. It's 1 turn, but it's really nice to have. On the A2, Radiant Claw attacks all enemies, increase the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. Also heals all allies, 4% of their max HP for every buff on them that had its duration increased. This ends up being a nasty heal, provided that you have, you know what, most teams, especially in like Hydra, right? He's one of the best Hydra champions in the game, Androck. Provided that you have some buffs, usually you're rocking what, like 4 or 5 buffs? Most of the time, usually in that neighborhood, maybe 3 to 5. I mean, it can end up being a great heal on top of the extending duration. Increased resistance, strengthen, and a continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns on a 3 turn. An additional continuous heal on all allies with less than 50% HP. Really good support, huh? On this base form. Increases champion's resistance by 10 for each buff on each ally. Oof. Increased critical hits inflicted by allies, each critical hit inflicted by allies fills the turn meter of all allies by 5%. Ooh, this Knights of the Wild. I forgot about that one. I forgot about the passive, to be honest with you guys. That's really, really good. All right. Yeah, defense on all battles 35%. On his A1, decreased defense on all enemies for 1 turn. So it can be a nice little debuffer there. Basically the opposite of his A1 on his base form. And AoE, decreased resistance, weaken, and enfeeble for 2 turns. 3-turn cooldown. If enemies have 50% or less, enfeeble cannot be removed. And then on the A3, Roar of the Kitharus removes all buffs from all enemies, deals pure damage to each enemy, equal to 5% of the target's max HP for each buff removed. Damage cannot be critical. Also block buffs, debuff on all enemies without buffs for 2 turns. Passive. Lionheart increases champion's accuracy by 10 for each buff on each enemy. And the same thing on the turn meter fill. Man, this guy's a boss, huh? Jeez, a man can dream. A man can dream. It's funny because when he initially came out, and you see this with a lot of champions, not just mythicals, but when he initially came out, he got a lot of hate. People were like, he's kind of a crappy mythical. I don't want him. But man, a lot of people are going for him now. A lot of people would be very thrilled to pull him despite the in-game ratings. You can never trust him. Guys, what do you think? Do you like this sort of video? Give me some feedback on that in the comments below, because there's a few other categories that I've been thinking about making kind of a follow-up on. Hey, that's going to be it. That's going to be it. This time I actually recorded the video, so I am thrilled to hand this off to the lovely Osama, our editor, and send this off to the universe to you guys. Guys, take advantage of these champions. They're very, very good. Thanks for watching till the end. And as always, take care, guys.